said a hip, a hop, a hippie to the hop. I said a hip, a hop, a hippie to the hop. I said a hip, a hop. Welcome back. We're back in it, folks. It's 7:53 in the morning. Good golly. Good golly. I was just up at it, cleaning the apartment, doing the thing. Uploading footage from last night and the day before. I've got a module from my software engineering course. If you want to check it out, it's linked in the description. It's a teachable program with your instructor, yours truly, moi. Yeah, so got that coming out, and I'm actually going to put that out on, can't expose what I'm listening to, guys. Good golly. It's not a hip to the hop. I promise you that. Not a hip to the hop, to the hippie to the hop. A hip, a hop, a hippie. Guys, thank you so much for watching and just diving in. I'm gaining a little bit of traction as a channel, and we're coming in on the next milestone, folks. So you know how it is. We're going to have to do some shenanigans, and the shenanigans are going to get increased. Oh, I wish I showed you guys. If you see the vlog, I'll put it in there. Surprised my girl with the little something, but basically I don't want to disclose our personal life. That's our business. But I did shoot a confetti cannon in here. It went everywhere. It was awesome. So I was picking that up this morning. But point is, guys, things are moving forward. Next milestone's getting hit. I believe we are running it down. We are so close to doing it. So things are all good. People are signing up for the program, the software engineering course. I have more students, which is just amazing. It's surreal to me. The channel's growing in steam. I've got a vlog coming out, probably already out by the time you watch this episode. I've got that, like I said, that React module going out where I would just check it out. There's some like really cool stuff where these Code Chronicles, I love them because they're like this long form thing where I could just be here and I don't have to think. But the React authentication video I'm putting out, it's like curated, it's cut, there's music in the background. It's good, folks. It is good. And it's not true authentication. I'm just going over like rough bird's eye view concepts of authentication that I wish I was taught, because when I was first learning Auth, sorry folks, had to take a sip of just black coffee because I'm out of freaking creamer, or almond milk is what I actually use as creamer. I got put on the half and half with Babson. Someone there was using half and half. It was good. They were, but it was like a specific brand of half and half. But anyway, so I forget what I was saying. What was the React Auth concepts. So that video is me talking about, and it's a module directly from the software engineering program. So if you do enjoy it, you're probably going to enjoy the program itself. But I wish somebody taught me these things in like a watered down beginner's version when I was learning authentication and authorization, because I didn't really cover authorization in it. I'll probably do that in another series. Maybe I'll build that. Whoops. Dropped my fancy dancy pen. Look how fancy dancy this thing is. Amazon for a couple bucks, but dropped it again. All right, enough. I just wanted to do one of these. That's all I wanted to do, folks. One of those. Enough messing around though. Let's dive into the code base. But yeah, that authentication video, it's basically just like generic. Just I wish I had a video like that personally when I was learning authentication. But if you do want to learn proper auth, obviously we integrated a clerk while in this series. Maybe I'll make a thing of integrating some other things of auth, like AWS Cognito or some OAuth. But fundamentally, I just wanted to get some basic generic ideas of navigating with auth. And I probably should do an authorization now that I think about it too. So, and doing like role-based stuff would probably be a good idea. So, yeah, I'll think about that. But let's dive into and let's talk about the work from yesterday. We were just flying at the end of the day yesterday, crushing some of the button stuff. So we can create a task. We'll say new task here, priority. We'll say low, no big deal. And I can actually pick a column of where I want it to be. We'll put it in the middle column, the in progress. We get a loading state, a success state. And if I refresh, we should see that pop up. Everything should still be working. Boom, new task here. Here it is. And then not only that, but we can actually update new task. So priority, I'll say, just kidding, we actually wanted it to high, and I'll go ahead and update. So boom, high priority, there it is. There it is, folks. And post task, we are getting task after, so I'm not sure why I didn't query, but we can do basically our CRUD functions on this Kanban page. Now the Kanban page isn't fully done, but we can delete, we can add, we can create, we can update. So, and read, of course, which is querying from the backend. So for now though, I'm going to, I believe, move on to kind of the next section. We haven't looked at the UI in quite a few episodes. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let me just pull it off screen here. If I have a few projects that I don't want to share with the world quite yet. But yeah, so big things have happened on, let's see. It says put it on desktop mode. It is on desktop mode, folks. Okay, cool. Boom. So yeah, I'm content with this Kanban functionality for right now. Again, 80% there. We can circle back to it, but it is at least to a functional point. We do have to do some refreshing sometimes. There's a few things I'd like to change, like obviously the button success state. I wouldn't like it to just say success. I would obviously like it to say something like a check, or same with the failed state. We just have an X there instead of a true X icon. We can change all that. That's just like tiny stuff that I am 0% worried about. The stuff I am more concerned about is just building and I would say architecting the system, right? So the thing that we roughly started to integrate, not in yesterday's episode, but the episode before it, I think 16. Yeah, I believe it was 16. 17 is just kind of polishing up some of those CRUD operations and just flying through them. I was just on one, just caught the wave, you know. But 16, I was starting to, I believe, architect some of the application and just talk about systems design, at least my understanding of systems design, and what we're going to need. We're going to need users database. We're going to need a teams database, a projects database, and task database. But all these things need to be interactive with each other to some degree. So I'm going to have to reference Chester a few times on these things, because that guy, he can literally just say, like, he can say a book's worth of knowledge in a sentence. It's truly impressive. So, but with that being said, I can at least build out some of this stuff, I think. So project dashboard, and I'm just trying to think what we can do today with the users. It's like create the user or look at some of this functionality that we can do if we have like next team meeting, right? Because maybe we do want to create the teams first. Actually, I did say on episode 16 not to think about the teams, but maybe we do, or the project, right? Because projects have users and tasks. So it seems like the uppermost scope thing, but then some user has to own the project. So I really need to think about it. I really do, because it's something that I think is just going to take time. But what we can do is maybe just start completing. I think, yeah, if we start building out some of the JSON components here, just with JSON and data, I think I'll be able to start wiring and understanding, okay, we need this data to relate with this because this is why, boom, boom, boom. So that's going to be the plan today, is go to our dashboard and start building this. We'll come back to our beautiful Kanban page. I am so proud of the work done here and the beauty that we have. And of course, the breadcrumbs component needs to be edited and fixed. Obviously, the Kanban create user thing was not working the other day. Didn't know why. We'll figure that out in a second, not today. But we are going to delete that for now. User store. Let's just park the Kanban page for now and get it out of our brain, because I don't want to get overwhelmed, and it's very easy to do that if you can't discern and separate things. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to keep this image on my other desktop so I can kind of see what needs to be built. But you guys saw it, and let's go ahead and close this front end app. Let's see, we do have our dashboard page, I believe. Nice, we do. Okay, and I'm going to start designing. Here we go. So H1, it'll say good morning. This will be, I forget you can't do one set of curlies here. Not in React because for some reason it doesn't like it. Okay, and what is the in-app layout? I thought we had all of our padding and stuff in the in-app layout. So why is it not? Why is the in-app layout not doing any of the padding and stuff? Is what I want to know. Just what I want to know. That's all. I thought that's literally why we built this layout function, so we don't have to deal with padding issues. But guess you can't win them all. Guess you can't win them all. That makes no sense to me. So padding doesn't work, but PX8 does. That makes no sense to me, folks, but we'll run with it. Okay. So breadcrumbs component. Looks like we're not going to have that on this page, but we are going to have a different sort of search bar. Again, we're looking at this thing, some sort of like user component. So breadcrumbs we'll have up here and maybe for another page. But over here we do not have that. So this is actually going to be something else. But we could go ahead and build out some sort of component. Let me just get the class name border-b, border-b, and I don't know what the color of that is. Nice, nice. Taking a sec to load. Hold on, folks. Hold on. Okay. Nice. Here we go. Here we go. We'll go flex call. Need that over there. And this can be wrapped here. Wait, this should all be flex call. Yep, yep. And height 1, height 2, and we'll put some stuff here. It'll have a search thing. Text start with full, right? Sorry, folks. The fingers aren't exactly warm quite yet. We'll get them there. We'll get them there, folks. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Okay, so we got good morning, and then we have some sort of settings button. So I'm going to, of course, import our base button. Flex, and this will be flex call. Nice. Okay, okay, and then looks like we have some sort of component here for meeting, like a next meeting component. So there's like a card around it, right? Let me show you guys. So there's a card. Let me close this out. There's a card right here. And it looks like there's some sort of next team meeting, next sprint planning. So I want to say like a team's notification type system. So maybe there's also a notifications kind of database that we need to consider where, or maybe that's part of teams, that teams all have notifications as well of who completed task, who did what, and when sprints are, when plans are. I think that's probably a good rough understanding of it, I suppose. Let's just get this button to be proper sizing real quick. Don't want it that big. It looks like we have some sort of text here. Okay, folks, just building. So we'll say with full, justify start real quick. Maybe it's item start. That's what we need. And I guess justify start is fine too. We'll my4. Or not there actually. I'll do that on the paragraph. We'll go my8 or mb8. And MT4. Okay. And not sure if we're going to need this settings button because we are going to have this kind of like upper area, right? So this is going to be where the search thing, this like upper bar, right? And I imagine the settings is going to be user settings where we can like change your profile and profile picture and stuff. But if we're using Clerk kind of handles all that. So I'm going to obviously look to streamline and deprecate some of the functionality that's not needed or that could be redundant or could be utilized elsewhere for obvious reasons. Custom class, we'll say background. What is it? Secondary, folks? Let's see. Boom, nice. Placeholder. Search for task. We do need to pass in some sort of icon or something, right? But again, we need to also think about how some of this like UI and UX will actually work out. So I'm just kind of blindly building right now. I'm not really thinking, and I think that's a good thing to do, right? Let's see, PY8. Let's just see where that border is. I seem to have lost the border. Don't know where that is. Did I accidentally delete it? I might have. No, border B, border dash B. I see it. With full flex call. Okay, let's put some items over here. This will be like our icons to the right. But these need to be flex, not flex call. Okay, and we actually don't want the border then here. That is fine with me. We will make our trusty border with that, I believe that div. Maybe at some point we'll make that a component, that div that's I've used kind of everywhere. But this one's actually a little bit different. With full and, okay, I see it. Very, very brief, very vaguely. I'll make it thicker for right now. We can see it right here. P8, we don't want P8, maybe P2, PY2. PT4, just a little space up top. And ultimately we do want to item center all this. So these are where like our user stuff and icons are going to go. It's going to be like a bell icon, looks like some sort of notifications. We'll probably deprecate the messages. Don't really need that because we'll just stash that in our thing here. And this will be our, what's it called? Our clerk. So trying to think on just UI UX, right? Because we can build right to the moon and just blindly build stuff. But end of the day, we do want it to all kind of function well. Like when we search for task here, what is that going to do? Is it going to pop up like modal and show a specific task? Is it going to filter this? What would that kind of entail is kind of some of the questions here. So, but I do want to export this icon. Bell SVG. Let's pop that into our icons folder. Oh. And ultimately, I will rename this to, not delete. We do want to bell-icon.tsx. That is what we want. And boom, here we go, folks. And we'll pass this off to ChatGPT to do the hard lifting for us on this. I don't want to waste my time just dealing with some styling stuff or just this style error. We'll just have ChatGPT fix the syntax. Can you fix this syntax? Be a whole lot quicker, and we can go on to our page while we're still doing this. And app layout, I'm going to close out. So that's kind of some of the point is we do want to be careful on not to overbuild, right? But we obviously need to be effective too. Everything that is here needs to be part of a good UI UX ultimately. So that's where some of the decisions came in for our Kanban page of like what do we need and what do we not need for just a minimum viable product type thing or something that's still solid, but you know we're not like overbuilding stuff or underbuilding stuff. Let's see, bell icon. Yeah, that will be fastest just to import and rename the capital. Okay. And bell icon, boom. Look at that, folks. We'll also item start this, or excuse me, center that. We can actually do a larger gap 4. So this is where that popover, and we did talk about that, I believe, that maybe we can build some sort of base popover, like similar to how we have a base modal. Let me show you guys. So the idea, I wouldn't do a full-on modal here, but we could have some sort of popover where we have button shows. We don't really have this selection to pop in a icon anymore, but for sake of it, we'll say this is our icon, where I could say update task, and we could say content. This will be popover. So I can click on it and then boom, we'll have maybe some settings or notifications to go through. And I think that's probably pretty solid, at least for a top bar area. Let me just review again. So what would the messages thing be? If there's notifications, what would the messages be, right? Like, are notifications different than messages? That's the question. That's the question, folks. Are notifications different than messages? And maybe there's difference. Maybe that's exactly what is going on, is that we do need some sort of messaging system, which wouldn't be the end of the world, but would be another layer of abstraction. So let's just start with these two. Let's just get that up and running. I think that's good enough. Clerk is obviously already configured, but doing the notification system is going to be its own service as a whole. And let's think about this. So we have our good morning, John Doe, boom, boom. Let's just review our UI. So good morning, okay. And let's build this kind of team component, I think, is next. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Just wanted to see if we can configure that width real quick. We have the upper area. Let me just divide this, and this is going to come down to our team components. Team cards is what they should, I guess, be called. So class, flex call. Maybe we need to make a layout for this as well, because there's kind of like two columns, left and right. It looks like there's like two side panels. So maybe that's what we actually want to do, is build a layout where we can just kind of populate things and it just stacks them one by one here and here and here, and then over here and here and here. And then mobile version, we'll just put them, instead of the columns being this way, we'll just, when it's mobile. So I think that's what we probably want to do now that I'm looking at it and identifying some stuff. So we're going to get under here, and this will be our layout for one side. So I guess technically this could stash in here. And boom, I think that would be roughly our layout. So we have width full, and boom. So that would be, this would be our left side here. And this would be our right side. So let me just pop this in here. Let's see if it's doing what I'm thinking it's doing. See if, boom, it is. Okay, perfect. So obviously it's not going to say the same things, so this will not be here. But it does look like there's like kind of these other card components as well off on the right side. We have like completed task, frequently asked questions, help and support. Maybe I remember very vaguely on like episode 2 talking about other ideas here. So maybe I'll have to watch that back and see what we roughly came up with. But let's just build out these team cards, see what we can build. So it looks like they are going to have next team meeting. So flex. I could probably swap this into a component right now, actually, is what I will do. Close all these folders, and we'll go to components, base team card. We'll just get that in there. All that JSX we just built, not very much, but at least a little start. And we'll pop this here. Base team card. Close out of the bell icon, and let's import that base team card into our dashboard. Base team card. And we are going to pop it in right here, right where it needs to be. So let's build it out. Let's build it out. We need that background color, BG background secondary. You can see how it's kind of taking up the full space. So how do we do this? Flex call. We don't want it flex call. Actually, we want flex row of gap x4. And do I want to make this its own loop here, like map through something and pass the data to the base card, maybe is what we're going to end up doing, but maybe not too, because, well, we might actually have to, because it's going to be kind of like team. So what would these be called? I guess I need to decipher if we're thinking about this in, let's go to our Lucid chart. Boom. Hopefully it's still logged in. Actually, I know it's not. Let me pull up. Lucid app. Here we go. It's logged in on my Safari, I believe. Okay, so what I'm just kind of keeping in the back of my head while we're building this UI out is what data does this belong to, right? So next team meeting, right? We talked about building these users. Let's talk about this now, is projects, right? What piece of data is that going to belong to? Is that going to be the projects, the next team meeting, or is this going to be a new thing that we need to build and it's going to be notifications, right? Like, that's the question. We'll call them notifs. So while we're building, that's what my brain is just kind of like, wait, hold on. What do we call this? What is this? Where does this piece of data belong? So I'm just thinking about it, because the way I name it should be relatively to this, right? Like if it's projects, then I just want to name this piece, this prop. So task was kind of like easy to knock out, and users will be like roughly easy to knock out. We'll say username, user ID. But this is where I need to think about another piece of data, right? Is this going to be team notification? Because if it's like a team thing, then maybe we don't do notifications, right? Maybe we just have teams, and teams can have notifications, right? Because then we also have kind of these project dashboard things. So yeah, okay. I think notifications will probably make most sense here. Yeah, we're gonna have to build that out too. So projects are gonna be kind of all of this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask Chester some questions, because projects, I feel like everything exists in a project, right? So projects have users. Projects also have task, right? So they also have these. And what do projects also have is, sounds like they also have notifications. So these three buckets kind of go into here, where a project has task, users, and notifications. And that's where I'm unsure if we're going to need these databases talking to each other, right? If these need relationships, right? If it does, then it makes me want to swap over to like a SQL database or something. But if we can get away with it with non-relational data, where just running one command would somehow trigger one of these functions, right? Then I would almost prefer that. So it is going to be, it's going to be a needed conversation with Chester. If we're going to have relational data, then we might swap databases, because non-relational data MongoDB may not be the answer here, or it could be. I need to I need to think about it and probably use my best resource. So I'll call this notification then. So notification name. Let's do this, and then we'll say notification notification, it looks like there's a date to it. So like week 12. Sorry, piece of coffee on the keyboard. Notification name, it will say notification date, it looks like. And maybe it'll say notification assignees or notification people, notification users, right? Something that lets us know, okay, this user's part of it, this user's part of it, this user's part of it. And it looks like we also have a category of some sort. So notification assignees is what we'll call that. And then we also have like notification category. So we're just going to shoot by the hip here. I think we're on the right track roughly for this component, and we'll build it out. P-6 rounded -2XL, perfectly fine with me. And MY8 per usual. Give us a little bit of space. So notification name. Let me push the thing over here, but this is going to be fun to kind of figure out and be puzzled with. How do we build all this, right? Gonna be a good time, guys. Gonna be a good time. And I feel like a really fruitful project for me because this is like just great timing. Okay, let me just pull off these styles. Can you make Tailwind for this? I am lazy, and we'll say, and this, I'm not lazy, I'm efficient. That's the better word. Because I had, there was someone who left a comment, and I know what they meant. They're like, hey, don't use ChatGPT. That's like cheating, right? And when I first had ChatGPT come out, I thought a similar thing. I was like, you know what, like, if I have to use these tools, then I'm a cheater. Then, you know what I mean? Something is not working, right? I must have done something wrong, right? But then when I worked at a enterprise company and realized that's all everybody uses is like I was the only engineer for a while there not using generative AI, and that's when I was like, okay, I need to make the switch over. And it's not to take a shot at them or anything, like, not at all. These are like literally the most talented engineers I've ever crossed paths with. Chester's one of them, who I regularly reference as like really talented because he really is. And the point being is like there's so much to do that even AI, and this is the funny part about it, like everyone freaking out about AI is like, we have all this generative AI and it's still like, you still have to configure the tiny things and make stuff happen and tweak stuff. Like there's still so much to build. And even this project that we're kind of building here, that like from an architecture standpoint, from like an AWS or Microsoft Azure standpoint, it's like there could be so much more. So notification date. Okay, looks like so I understand what the person was saying with the, like, don't use ChatGPT, like don't lean on it that much. But at the same time, I really don't, because I don't know. It just seems like use the tools if you got them, right. And if it's tiny stuff, for instance, with the difference between like Vue and React, there's subtle differences that I don't understand at times, because I was working in the Vue ecosystem for 6 months, right? And you know, you like forget stuff because they work differently. Like the way that the code block gets ran through in Vue is different than the way that the code block gets ran through in React. React like runs through it consistently, like thousands of times. It'll just constantly keep running through the code block. But in Vue, it only runs through on render, on once, on mounted, right? Like, so there's stuff like that where I'll just forget how reactivity works. And Vue reactivity is different than React reactivity, right? So popping something in ChatGPT in my mind is just like, just use the tool if it's there for you, right? Like, I'm not here to say I'm here to say I'm a talented engineer. I'm here to say, you know, I'm good at what I do, but I'm not here to say like, I don't know. I get what he's saying though. I could probably lean on it a little bit less, but notification name. But same time, we have so much to build still. So no problem, you know, no problem there. Notification. Looks like assignees. And this is going to be a one-to-many relationship, it looks like. So notification category, string, okay. And that actually isn't going to be string there. It'll actually be our user type. Just don't have the users fully configured quite yet, so maybe we do want to build that next. Let's say iProps, and let's destructure all these things. Just bring them all in actually like this. But yes, I will definitely keep using ChatGPT as my trusty intern that he is. The other day I was actually never mind. I won't spill the beans on what I was doing with it because it's going to be really cool. If I can figure it out. If I can figure it out, which I do think I can. Just a matter of how much time I want to sink into that decision, that thing I'm figuring out behind the scenes with it. But other people have figured it out already in Python. I just want to do it in TypeScript. So, I spelled assignees wrong. There's two S's. I see that. Let's go ahead and copy all three. Boom and boom. Now, why do we have an error? Type user is not... Okay, we're not going to do type user quite yet. We're just going to do an array of strings. And in technicality, we need to map them. So we'll say assignee and assignee. These will also need a key prop. So I'll go index. That's fine with me. Really, you shouldn't use the index for efficiency, right, for optimization, but it is on the client side, so not the end of the world, right? Notification assignees, why are we getting an issue? I feel like we shouldn't be getting an issue there, but maybe this could be like assignee ID or something, because I imagine we'll have assignee IDs, which will just be the user IDs. Okay, and it's going to say, of course, notification assignee. So in this obviously this helps us kind of build the type, because I'm thinking about now the type of it, where we're going to have notifications and it looks like assignees, or yeah, user ID. It's more than likely what it'll be. So we can use that. It's going to say user ID does not exist on string, but it will exist on a user. So maybe we will go back to importing that user. Let's see. User ID, assignee. It's not assignable to React node. What is this? The type user is not assignable to type React node. So I can't pass it in. Interesting. All right, we'll just go with index then for now. Hopefully we remember to, I feel like we will. But not the end of the world. Let's get that. Okay, boom. So now if I pass in all this stuff into the Teams card, say notification assignees, we'll say Ryan. And how about Chester? Trusted guy. And boom. Here we go. We'll say notification name. We'll say next team meeting, notification category. It's going to be about a task per se. Maybe we can wrap that in task badge, and this will be week 16, right? And I won't even do assignee here. We'll import, what was it? Base badge, that's what it was. Okay. And base badge. Maybe we shouldn't have it called task category, but it should just say text or something. Also looks like it's going to be a different color or something. So let's not do that. But we do want it to be at the bottom of the div. So let's put a ghost div here. Have it grow to the full thing. And let me get the height of this looks like it's 126 pixels, excuse me. So let's just pop that in there. Or not, looks like it kind of shrank us a little bit. I just don't want this to exist here. I want it to exist at the bottom right corner, like all the way down. So text center, maybe we could say flex justify end, is it? Or items end, one of the two. I think that did it. Yep, looks like that did it. Okay, great. So on these assignees, I will make a background, let's see, slate 500, and we'll do width. These will just be like the icons real quick. Width, we'll say 10, height 10, rounded full. Here we go. Nice. And we won't actually have the assignee in there. It'll just be invisible. Oh, and that was a freaking p tag the whole time. Nice. Okay, flex. And maybe we can have some sort of absolute value where they're layered on top of each other. And then if we do the style, I think style we can use the index to say right 0. Let's see. I never know how to do this. With actually, I don't want to say that. I do know how to do it. It's just different over here in this ecosystem. But basically, what I'm trying to do is use the index. Let's say like the index times. Let's say times 4 or something, just dash, or how about this? How about this? It's going to be index times 4, and it'll be left dash this, and we'll go BG slate, all that stuff. Basically, I want them to be offset from each other a little bit. So maybe we won't do left. Let's do flex, and we'll also make sure it's relative up top. But I do want them just, if it's the next one in the index, I want it to be just a little bit more to the right or something, right? So let's see how to do this. Of course, I'm going to ask my trusty ChatGPT, the trusty intern. We're going to cruise through this and go to the next thing because we do need to build out more tasks as well, the my task section, which we do have roughly built out. Awesome. We can just query that and send it to here. So I will how to stack these assignee divs, how to overlap, how to slightly overlap these assignee divs. Boom. Okay. So we have that roughly being built out, which is great. And let's go to the next part, which is going to say my task up top. Looks like we're going to have a bit of a header there, a little bit more. And we're going to have a task table. So this is what we're building now. Let's go ahead and do that. While ChatGPT is building us the other thing, we are going to start this other component. We'll say base task table .tsx template. Oh, want my template. Not tasable. And this looks like it's going to be a good element, right? Because we probably can honestly build it out pretty much fully. I at least hope, because we are. Let's see if this kind of did it for us. If ChatGPT did it for us. No, I don't think it did. Index 2 margin. Oh, it did. It did actually. I think I could see them roughly doing it. The overlap. That's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we want, folks. And I'll put shadow just to exaggerate it. Can we see the overlap if we do 2XL? Just want to see that inner thing, right? And we don't want margin right. We obviously want margin left. Say left. Boom. Here we go. Okay. That's where the first one will start, and it looks like we need more padding on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and add that. We'll say PB 8, maybe. Boom. Okay. And maybe even PX or P left 6. No, that did nothing because we're absolute positioned, of course. So we'll just start there and boom. There we go. That's what we needed. Margin right from that position. Why are we negative? Why are we negative, right? So if we say margin right 20, what does that do? Sorry, folks, just messing around here, seeing what looks about appropriate, about healthy. So margin right, what was the margin left? Again, margin left. Wish these were different colors. Maybe we can make them, according to the index, different hex colors or something, but if I start, no, that's not going to work because we're absolute positioned. I just don't want to deal with pixel values because it's not what we want to do. We also don't want to deal with that many rems. Something like that might work. And I think these are going to be like user buttons. So we are going to have to, this assumes a few things, that we do have the image for these users. Gosh, it was 7:50 in the morning. Now it's 8:48. I think we've been going on for about an hour. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if we can get the task table built out, and then it looks like we have this bar chart component, which is going to be fun to build. And then these other things I think we're going to have to figure out and start building. Like the completed task is something we need to build an endpoint for, or somehow query. Well, actually, no, that would just be querying all the done tasks. So not a horrible thing there, but I do think the other stuff, the notifications, going to be a little bit of a larger lift. So we're going to have task table. Let's go ahead and build that team card where we're going to steal that color from it. Or just kind of this initial thing, this initial wrapper, if you will. Being that they look kind of the same style. Okay. So task table. Did I not import it? Oh, I didn't import it here to our page. So import base task table. And I'm thinking we can either query things from here, from this page, and then pass it to the components that need all the task stuff. Or we can just access the store from the components and just use them there. That makes the most sense to me, but I did have a old mentor who did not like, well, and to be honest, and then in Vue, it's much easier to use computed functions. It really, really, really is. So it looks like we're gonna have, let me see, base team card. Looks like we are gonna have some sort of notification assignee, but it's not gonna be notification assignees here. It's gonna be not notification, but task assignees. We don't need them over layered with each other. That's not something we need here. We just need them to be styled. Looks like we have the little photo icon. I'm talking about this portion right here. These little guys. So let's build that interface real quick. iProps. Task assignees. Again, maybe we don't need the interface. Maybe we just put it here. So it's just going to be users, but we don't have that built out yet. Task assignees, but we'll go ahead and just keep it in there for right now. Task assignees, this shouldn't be an error anymore. I don't know why it's airing out. Okay, I'm just going as fast as I can, guys. Give me a moment. And that's going to wrap this, which is going to say task name, which we do have, and then this is going to say task date, which we need to add, I guess. I'm going to flex and justify between and with full. Boom. So it should put it all the way out. And let's, instead of doing task assignees, I'll just go ahead and put an array here and just say Ryan. Boom. So it pops up with a user. And really this actually, I've set this up wrong. Let me redo this in a sec, but let me just get paint on the canvas is what I call it. Just get the paint out there. So really this whole thing should be an array, and all these things should be wrapped in here. And they should be like cards that stack as I build it, right? So flex should be width height 10. That's just for the assignee portion. So let me do this and do this and do this and do this. And boom, and pull this key to the parent div. And this is also going to be flex. This is going to be what I wanted. Justify between. Boom. And it needs to be with full here. And let's get rid of that extra div we don't need. Okay, and we also don't need this absolute positioned. Nice. There we go. There we go, folks. So now we have these like cards, right? Where I'm going to pass in all these things, right? We'll have kind of an object, I imagine, with like a user ID. And this will say Ryan or Pags. And then we'll have a task name, right? Which is complete this, right? And then we'll have task date. It's like August 23rd or something, right? So, and these are all now all keys that we can access within our thing. So I can say assignee dot user ID should pop it up there. And that's how we'll probably get the badge and whatnot. And then I can also say task name here. So it'll be like, this is how I'm going to get the data, assignee.task name and assignee.task date. I need to think about how this is going to relate to the entire project though, right? And what do I mean by that? Like, is this, I know we have task built out, but are these just going to be all the same? And I do think it will be the same thing as the Kanban, but I just want to double check. And let's just build this array out as if it's a array that we just fetched or something, const data. And now it's probably looking a little bit more familiar for folks. Kind of stuffing it in there with everything else makes it look a little bit crowded and confusing. So we'll just add a few of these. Pretend there's more. We're getting an error because there's no array to map. Now there should be. Boom. So that's what we have is going to be these like task cards that show us all these different things coming up or these different people who have tasks. So again, when we look at a Kanban, these are tasks associated to me, right? To me, I imagine. I don't imagine these are like the team's task, or are they the team's task? So these are things we need to think about. I imagine this should just be specific to my user, to this account. But these tasks are going to be specific to the project, it looks like, because there's different users. So we'll have to think about that because it may not actually end up being the same task data. It might be the task data from the project. But for now, I guess we can kind of do the user's task or treat this Kanban as if it's a what's it called? Treat the Kanban as if it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? A team's project thing. So we will have to think about a few things. I think. But this episode is coming together great. Background, we'll say primary. Boom, so we can hover over them. P-4, great. Cursor dot pointer and transition. Nice. Then I guess technically we don't need the margin because we got the padding. Rounded to XL, and I don't know. Let's link up the task store. That seems the most appropriate here. And if we just say const task store, I love how I have that template and I just haven't even used it. Function. So, and I'm thinking about having when users log in to go through kind of like a middleware page. I kind of referenced this on the last thing where it just fetches everything while they're logging in and shows a loading screen or something. And this way we can get all of these functions out of the pages, and we can actually keep one in the store that just fetches all the data one time. Because right now when we land, every time we land on this page, it's fetching data, which might be good if there's users updating tasks and stuff. But maybe we can consider some sort of like WebSockets or something for that. And then function get task. This would just be the same query that we're using elsewhere in the application of async and await task store dot get task, and I could use state. Actually, no, we are setting the task at that point. So I can actually just on Wait a sec. Yeah, I'm trying to think how I want to do this, because if we want to stick to something consistent across the entire application, if I'm doing the smart columns, then maybe we do want to do a smart table and kind of have these like server-side rendered components. Maybe dive into some of Next server-side components. Could be an opportunity for that. Let's put our dependency array, and we are just going to go ahead and fetch the task here on load. And then I guess technically we do have the task. So if we say task store task, I believe is what we have them named as. And I can go ahead and map task, and let's say task.task name or task ID. We should see just a list of tasks now. Let's see what's wrong here. What's wrong here? Index. Do we need a key? What am I missing? Did I miss a closing parenthesis or something? Oh, I'm missing a closing parenthesis. Nice, just like that. Okay, so we should see all of our tasks, I believe. If we go ahead and fetch this, boom, here they are. So we can use that now, I think, to at least map all these tasks. Instead of having dummy data, let's just use the real data. We don't have task ID, but we do have user ID. Maybe we can, for now, just put task ID until we configure the task date, because we don't have that, I don't believe. So text start, get them all lined up on one side, and we do need to make this width full as well, so it's not taking up all that extra room. Or rather, this needs to be wrapped in its own div that's width full. So all these are the same width, and this needs to be width full as well. So it's boom, 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 3 divided things, and then I'll do text end here. So all that stuff exists on the right. Just like that, opacity 50 and text small. Boom, folks, we are looking proper. So here's all of our tasks. Obviously, we don't want to see all of them laid out in a 1,000,000-mile long list. It's obviously not what we want to do, folks, but let's say task ID for right there. That's fine. Either way, it's going to be invisible. And let's oh, my app UIs are just had lost the canvas question mark. I have no idea if it just deleted that would suck. That would suck. That would literally suck. Lost in the canvas. Oh, okay. Maybe I was scrolling or something. Rookie move there, but let's go ahead and take a look at this again. So it looks like we have the task number. So we can filter for tasks that are to do probably and in progress. And it looks like there's a view all task button to see and scroll more. So let's go ahead and give this a height of, I don't know, 48. Let's see what that is. And we'll say overflow scroll. So all these extra tasks, boom, you could scroll to see them. But I actually don't want it there. I want it here in the wrapper div around that section. So we're not messing with the toActive task. That should be its own kind of div. Say class name width full. Text start, it looks like. Boom. And we'll give it, we will give it MY4 or padding 4, maybe MB4 because we already got padding on top. So we have that, and we also do want to hide the scroll bars, which I think is just no scroll bars is what we called it in our globals.css. Let's see if that does anything. Maybe it's no scroll bars like that. It is. Nice. Nice. Okay. But there's a view all button that says, okay, you can view more. So I don't know, maybe we do want to build something like that. Don't want to do that, or have some sort of shadow that's inset, I guess, on the bottom. I don't know how you do that. Shadow enter. Is there anything more we can do? But I do want to let people know that there's more that they can scroll ultimately, right? Type error. Don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Let's remove the data. Don't need it. We're fetching real data. Okay, so task table. We're just gonna go ahead and make this a server-side component, so we're not gonna be passing it props. And my task, great. Let's go ahead and give it some margin bottom. Margin bottom 4. Okay, so that's a rough task table, at least built there for now. We'll touch it up again. We'll have time to do all that. I just want to get on to maybe some cards on the left side or the bar component, or we can wrap up this episode and I can see all in the next one, because we did get at least the initial parts of this done. Maybe last final thing, we'll build out this completed task card as fast as we can, and I'll just filter for all the tasks done out at like a percentage of how many tasks are done out of the total task. So the ones in the task status column in done. Oh my God, I almost just knocked over my coffee cup. Would have been criminal. Yeah, so I do think we can do that. Let's maybe shoot for that. So let me think how to do this. We have, looks like there's some space here. So maybe good morning username, all this stuff actually exists outside of this. And then it looks like it starts here. Yeah, the team cards start below that. Okay, so it looks like we have a top layer and then 2 columns left and right of each other is maybe one way to look at the layout. Rather than just 2 columns stacked by each other, it looks like there's a top thing, another top thing, and then 2 columns stacked left and right. So we'll just run it like that. Let's see, PY8. Maybe, nope, didn't want it there. Want PT8, I think, right there. Perfect, just to give us a little bit of spacing, and let's build out this one team card is where I'm going to call it, guys. I know I said I'll wrap it up at the my task things, but we're going to say base completed task. Looks like that's going to be the component name. I know we didn't even build it yet, but we will. Base completed task. And boom. Doesn't exist yet. I know. Oh, not new folder. We want that, and boom, and this, and boom, and oh, didn't want that. Okay, let me steal this. Base completed task. Let's go ahead and also base team card. We're going to steal that same wrapper around this card because they all just, I want them to all look the same pretty much. So I forgot which side the div goes on. That's funny. We'll say base completed task. Boom. Okay. So this does need to, again, probably import the task store. And what else? We need to invoke the task store or instantiate the task store. Task store, and boom. And what else do we need to do? We need to get all the tasks and figure out which ones are done. So the problem with this, though, is this might be something that needs to be done on the back end, and it's just going to be maybe a thing delivered to the front end, because if we're querying for that many tasks, it could be, well, if it's a server-side component, I guess that is kind of the back end. But if it's, what's the error here? Strings must be single quotes. How did we import the task store to begin with? Base task table. Okay, we'll single quote it, but I don't want to query a ton of tasks and then do it on the client side if we can do it on the server side, right? So if I can deliver a piece of data that's already configured all this, maybe we do that and just have a function or like an endpoint that just calls just for this one component that does all this math for us, right? Is what I'm almost considering. thinking about, again, another question for Chester probably. So let me see, task store, because otherwise this is just going to get a little bit heavy, I think. Import use effect. We don't want a slow application. We want literally the opposite. So either a question for Chester or something I need to look into server components for, because that is like why server components kind of were made, right? Because we don't want to always like requery the same data. So that's why if we query the data once on this page and then pass it down to the components would be another approach of doing this. But if it requires different data, or we can lighten the data on the back end, so instead of it, like, let's say our task object grows to a bigger thing where we're like adding task date, task category, task assignees, task team, task project that it belongs to, all these things, and our task object ultimately grows, it's going to just be more like it slows it down over time, right? Especially if you have like 1,000 tasks. So the other way to do it is like you can construct data that just for this component, that just this component needs. So just be like, okay, what tasks are completed, pump it to an array, and then have that array just be really, really, really lightweight of just like task completed count or something, where, I don't know. Again, we'll have to think about that. We have enough to build. So let's do it though. Function calculate tasks completed. Boom. And we'll say task store tasks map. Where's our filtered task? We want filtered task. We'll just steal this. This one right here. Filtered task, last status. Okay. We'll say last status name equals done. So this will be number of completed task, right? I think this is gonna work. Completed task, and then we'll say total task. Oh no, I can just literally say boom. Dot length for total task. Probably don't even need to make it a variable, but this will be this versus this dot length, and we can return number of completed tasks divided by total task times 100, folks. And I think that's going to be the number we want, right? Something like that. If we've done the math correctly. We've done the math, folks. Let's see. Close it out. 24% complete. She's Louise, folks. That man is on one. That man is on one, folks. Jeez, maybe we can, I don't know, math.seal it or something. So it's just 25%, and we'll stash a % with it, just like that. So I think that works, or maybe we can not math.seal it, but 2 fixed, maybe like 2 decimal places or 3, maybe. Where's there we go. 2 fixed, maybe 3 decimal places. 24, but no one's like 24.4%. My project's 23.28 done. But this is actually dope because let me not say that actually. Sorry guys, I can't tell you that just out of respect for a friend. I didn't want to. It's just, yeah, but I think it's a feature is all I wanted to ultimately say that people could use, right? Is rounded full, and let's go ahead and make the width some sort of fixed thing and the height some sort of fixed thing. We'll flex, justify center, item center. Boom. Look at this, folks. Let's look at this. Let's maybe try a little bit more. 32, 32. Boom. Nice. I'm looking at the thing now, and we need to make it a little bit larger text, and have a completed task below it. So let me do completed task here, and we'll say margin top 8. See what that does. And I don't want it to take up this full like width here. I want it to just and we need text XL, probably something like this, a little bit larger. And let me just make sure the style is on point. It is white. 24 pixels is the font size. I don't know what XL is. I imagine it's probably about 24 pixels. Looks like that's not big enough. Let's say 36. Okay. And let's go ahead and page task this. Don't want to flex. I can just say that. Will it make the card smaller? What if this is full? Boom. There we go. There we go, folks. And then obviously we will have gap-4, and there'll be like, I don't know, 2 or 3 other things, or we'll have to think about maybe completed task or task in progress. Maybe we'll put percentages for those. It'd probably be pretty easy things to generate now that we have the rough structure of one thing. But folks, I think that's going to wrap it up today. We just again started to catch a little bit of wind at the tail end there. Let's run push this. We're going to lint. Step 1, lint. Then check the data, make sure the data is solid. And I think we're good. Let's see. TSC no omit. Type check, pass the type check. Perfect, folks. Perfect. So a lot of progress done today, obviously, on this project page. Obviously, server's down, so we're not going to be able to see it, but we now have a pretty solid, I'd say like 70 to 80% built out Kanban page. And then, maybe that would be a good idea, is have like subcategories. So maybe tasks can belong to projects, but then there's subcategories, and we can show the categories of things completed on the front end for the column. So instead of completed task, we can have like completed task for a category. So for instance, if we're building a Kanban page and I just said it's about 70 or 80% done, maybe we can have tasks that are category for the Kanban page, and then measure how many tasks out of all tasks in the category page that are for the category Kanban are completed. So then we can see like, it's like 70 or 80% done. The question then is, how would we render how many cards here for how many tasks? Or I could just do a side scroll or something easy, but that would be kind of actually a cool component. So that infers that we would have projects and task categories. Something to think about, folks. I do think that would be an awesome component. So, because then we can actually measure these things and put our categories as like Kanban page, see what its completion roughly is. I can maybe have a day of just sitting there and writing all the tasks that we need, and we can have like completed project. And then after a certain point, we can kind of ship items, if you will, or production, and say, okay, if it's past 85% or some sort of ticket thing, we can quote unquote feel good about shipping something, and maybe there would be more than one completed task thing or more than one completed Kanban project card. I like that idea a lot, actually. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to implement that a whole bunch better. I like that idea. It seems a whole bunch more useful than saying like frequently asked questions or something. Like not to shit on UIZerd, but I really do like that. So let's maybe write that down on the page and say add cards for task category. Add cards that measure completion for task categories. Boom. All right, folks, that wraps it up here today. Thank you again for watching this episode. The YouTube channel is growing, and I'm just trying to keep up with it. So thank you guys again. Software description or software course in the description. All my kind of social links, all that stuff, all the goody stuff. If you guys want to donate to the channel, I did leave a Venmo. I'll do a more classier way of donating in the future. But I'm just flying. I'm just producing content, doing that course. I just put out that React authentication course, and just flying, guys. And the tech vlog, obviously, and there's another one in the works as we speak. So just going off the charts, just trying my best to put out as much content and do what I can right now. So, and if you want to support the channel, but maybe don't feel the best about donating, I completely understand. Like literally just a simple like and subscribe goes so far. So thank you guys so much. Cheers. I am really pumped on the progress here, and I can't wait for the next episode. I really can't. So thank you. Bye.